from all over the country and even some international folks. We get some horseshoers that go with us, some people that are equine dentists that go with us. And so we get this wide variety of people. And typically in a 1 week period, we'll see somewhere between 250 and 400 head of horses that are going to be provided basic vaccinations for things like tetanus and rabies, which are endemic down there. And then they're going to be dewormed, and they're going to have all those other elements that we talked about taken care of, basic dentistry taken care of. And then they're going to be given some nutritional supplement while they're down there. The mineral supplement that we make it in country. We've actually worked with nutritionists in Central America that help us decide, what are these animals deficient in, and then, trying to provide some trace mineral deficiencies, and then also just trying to provide them some lysine, which is a basic amino acid that you've got to have to live. And so we do that, and we make that locally. We provide it during our work trips, and then we also provide it throughout with the partnership of our NGOs. They continue to circulate and provide those nutritional supplements throughout the year.
Wow, that's a lot. That's way more than I thought it was going to be. I thought you were going to say around 25 or 30, but that's a lot.
It can be a long day, let me tell you.
Have you ever, either one of you or both of you together, have you ever done any operations? Have you ever seen a horse or a mule or a donkey that needs an actual operation and performed it there while you're there?
I can speak to that, Julie. We do some basic surgeries there, but in frame of reference, a basic surgery to us in a MASH hospital setting is a quite serious surgery to particularly the locals that we visit and work with who may have never seen surgery before, other than cauterizing a wound with a hot machete at its most basic sense. And that's just to give you and the listeners an idea of some of the closely held old ideas of what medicine is there and how animals are treated, not because not in a malicious way, but because that's the resource they have. And so oftentimes we're doing surgeries on chronic wounds that need to be revised. We're teaching those animal owners how to care for those wounds after the surgery. Some of the more basic routine surgeries that we do are castrations, for example. Mm-hmm. And in many of these communities, there is really this conception of castration as being a coin toss, whether the horse will live or not. Because of many of the techniques and just the septic conditions that the animals are in on a day-to-day basis, or they may get castrated in a excellent, very, very highly clinical way by a local veterinarian, but then the owner has to ford a river on the way home with that same animal.
Wow.
So there are some interesting things that we may never think of in terms of surgery, and doing a surgery which we consider to be simple here, that becomes so much more complicated in conditions such as those. So when you ask how many animals we do on a typical day or week, it can be quite variable depending on how many times we have been in that community to do work. Even if we have our farriers and our saddle fitters doing their work, we may have 100 horses that show up, but not all 100 are coming to us for veterinary care. Many of them are standing around, the owners and the horses are standing around the periphery of the soccer field, which is where we typically set up. There's often a soccer field in the center of town or in the center of every village. And the animal owners and the animals will just stand and watch and gauge whether we're to be trusted. And so we'll see year after year as we go back to the same villages, we'll see the participation in the veterinary care really increase. And that includes the number of colts or stallions that are castrated year after year.
Wow. Wow, I never thought of it that way because we always think, we're not crossing rivers because we have to. It's something we would do for pleasure if we're on a trail ride. It's not something that we would have to do to go somewhere. So it's just a completely different thought process that I never even thought of, that just the way that they're living, that when you do perform any type of service for any of these animals, that they have to actually go back to where they came from. They might have just walked or, gone there on their own. They didn't get there by, like here it would be by truck, right? So that's totally different. I never even thought of that.
That's right. And there are other things as well. As we talk about saddle fit. It's such a big thing here that on high level performance horses of any discipline, that the saddle fits correctly, so that there's that connection between horse and rider. Well, in the countries that we serve, Guatemala, for example, many of the saddles are handed down from generation to generation or from one neighbor to another. They may be carved from a tree trunk, just a wooden saddle over burlap sacks. And so once again, the availability of resources and being able to create a saddle that allows the horses to do the work that they need to do more comfortably and to be more productive with the equipment that they have is quite a challenge. And so we can't ask those owners necessarily to pull their animal out of work for 2 weeks while that wound heals. So that there's a lot of compromise in what can we realistically expect from that owner, and what can we teach them so that they can help that horse fend for itself as it continues to do work.
Right. Wow, that's amazing. I'm so thankful that you do this work because it must be eye-opening. Do you have, by any chance, anyone that documents this through? I know you have the video up on the website. So do you take somebody with you that can take pictures and videotape what you're doing, all the good things you're doing out there?
We have from time to time. There's a great videographer, storyteller in Austin named Bud Force. He's got the coolest name in the world. But Bud shot the video, I think you saw. But a lot of our videos and pictures are just from us while we're there and attendees, and it's not a commercial. We try, when we're going down there, we go down there to serve people, to be servant leaders, and that's our goal. It's not to try to put on a production or a show. And so we try to be mindful of that, while in the same spirit, there's nothing more powerful than telling and capturing a great story. And so we sort of live on both sides of that paradigm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I understand. In terms of resources, because you have to go down with so many things, I'm thinking just in terms of what you're treating. How do you fund those resources? Do you have them through on your own, or do you have sponsors that help you with that?
Yes and yes and yes.
All the above.
Right. A lot of it comes out of our personal funds. Our company, obviously, we take the resources that we have allocated from our giving program, and we utilize those to provide the nutritional supplement. We do work in conjunction with a group called the Equitarian Initiative, which is a contrived word of basically humanitarian and an equine enthusiast. So the Equitarian Initiative maintains a banner of volunteer veterinarians like Keith and myself that go and serve both domestically. I mean, there's Indian reservations here domestically that have a lot of working horses on them that need care and education, and we have partners that do that. And then again, going all over the world to serve. So the Equitarian Initiative serves as a banner to help us fundraise, and so we'll go out and both recruit volunteers through that program, and also we'll work with some of the leading equine veterinary associations that typically have a foundation attached with them, and they will They'll provide some funding to offset travel expenses while we're in the country, and things like that. And then some of the manufacturers, the vaccine manufacturers and dewormer manufacturers here in the U.S. have a great heart to help us and sort of get on the yoke and provide us some of those resources that we need. And so it comes from a lot of different people. It comes, personally, it comes through, professional connections and then these charitable connections that we maintain.
That's wonderful. And I love it that other people are willing to, help you. If they can't physically go with you, then they're willing to at least help out any way that they can. Because we all love the sport. We all love animals and horses, and they all need help, right? So it's a really great thing that you're doing.
Tune in next week for part 2 of this exciting interview.
If you have any questions, comments, or would like to know more about a guest on our show, please contact me at jsalant5@outlook.com. That's J-S as in Sam, A-I-L-L-A-N-T as in Tom, 5@outlook.com. And remember, stay present, step into your power, and never give up on your dreams.